Okay, so let me tell you a very funny story. Right after college, from my first job salary, I bought OnePlus 3 for 30,000 and I was really happy about it. And I told my uncle I bought a new phone for 30,000 and he just casually asked, which brand? And I was like, OnePlus. And he had absolutely no clue what brand OnePlus was. I was a bit hurt, but then I said to myself, okay, it is an enthusiast brand, not everyone knows about OnePlus. But roll back to 2021, he sold his iPhone 7 and bought Oneplus Nord 2. So what's the point of this story? Well, the story tells a lot of things. Now you see, in 2021, OnePlus sales grew by 257% globally. They were the fastest growing brand in the US and Europe. And in India, OnePlus recently registered its highest ever shipments in 30,000 and beyond segments due to Nord 2 and Nord CE. But at the same time, why there is so much negative buzz around OnePlus on YouTube or their own forums? I haven't seen anyone recommend OnePlus 9, OnePlus 9 Pro or even Nord CE. Well, let's talk about it. Sorry about the bad voice. Adjust a bit, I had fever. This is Prateek, you're already watching TechWiser, and if you like these kind of honest talks, subscribe to Stay Wiser and hit the bell icon as well. Now, some of you may remember when OnePlus was launched, it became an instant hit among tech enthusiasts. With OnePlus 1, OnePlus 2, OnePlus X, etc., those phones were true flagship killer and beat all competition with their price. Back then, OnePlus stick to launching one phone a year and then two phones a year with OnePlus 3 and OnePlus 3T. But things started suddenly changing in 2019. There were not only two but four OnePlus phone releases: OnePlus 7, OnePlus 7 Pro, OnePlus 7T, OnePlus 7T Pro, and they not only had good specs, but they also had that flagship price. Roll back to 2020, OnePlus launched two phones, OnePlus 8 and OnePlus 8 Pro. They not only had flagship specs, but also the flagship price. But that's all past. The real change started in 2021, so we'll only talk about 2021. And in my opinion, 2021 was the most disappointing year for OnePlus, so we'll talk about it in detail. At the starting of 2021, we had the OnePlus 9 and OnePlus 9 Pro. While both are excellent phones, they most certainly don't have the flagship killer credentials. But what didn't work for most of the people is their pricing. Also, the Hasselblad partnership, in my opinion, was more or less a gimmick. Interesting, just around the launch of the OnePlus 9 and 9 Pro, the older OnePlus phones like 7 and 7 Pro users received the Android 11 Oxygen OS 11 update that almost made their phone barely usable. The phone hangs, Wi-Fi drops and the app crashes. The OnePlus forums were full of complaints. And then there was OnePlus's first smartwatch, the OnePlus smartwatch. Well, it released after a lot of hype but didn't live up to the expectation. The reason was the OnePlus smartwatch wasn't a proper smartwatch that could reply to notification, install apps, and it had a 44mm dial, which is not suitable for most of the people. We also reviewed the OnePlus smartwatch, and in our opinion, it was the most meh smartwatch for the year. Now, in June 2021, we had the cheapest OnePlus phone ever, OnePlus Nord CE. It was the first OnePlus phone to launch at 23,000. All the hype was around the price, but the base variant was not available. When you go to Amazon.in, it's not available. Funny thing, it says limited time deal for the 25,000 variant. Whereas on OnePlus's official website, you can only get the black color for 23,000. But the OnePlus website doesn't deliver everywhere in India. Smart. And then even the Nord CE themselves have a decent amount of lag, especially when you get phones from Realme like Realme X7 Max, Realme GT Master Edition, or Xiaomi's Mi 11 Lite NE 5G that have better performance and even better camera at that price range. But actually, everything turned upside down when they announced the Oppo OnePlus merger. Like, for people who don't know, older OnePlus phones like OnePlus One took the design and hardware from Oppo phones since the start. But the thing that stood out from the beginning was the software, Oxygen OS. And then the founder Kalpe left, the existing core team was let go, and the software, Oxygen OS and Color OS, merged. And after the merger, OnePlus Nord 2 was released, and this probably would be the most unlucky OnePlus release. Like, it was the only OnePlus phone for 2021 that we recommended. It was genuinely a good phone in all aspects, but then the blast news started coming, and it was not just one random news. There were a series of at least 6 cases, if people are keeping track, but for the last blast issue, OnePlus actually paid the medical expenses and initiated a refund. But we didn't hear any official press release or a summary of these problems from OnePlus itself. And if all of this was not enough, the recent update to OnePlus 9 and OnePlus 9 Pro, Android 12, the infamous Oxygen OS 12, was sent. The update was full of bugs, and it was not just the user. The OnePlus company had to revert the entire Oxygen OS 12 update to fix the bugs. And this was just the forefront of the company. It looks like the OnePlus customer support and entire service was also suffered. Like we do SNL every Saturday 9 p.m. and you guys told us about your OnePlus experience.
I'm using the OnePlus. Then I had to go to the service center. Then they said it was a bug of Android 11 and the hardware doesn't get any better than this. You have to buy a new phone if you want some more features and more flexibility. And I said, well, then why did I spend 30K on this?
Shout out to Jay Vaidya. So just to summarize, Jay was advised by the OnePlus service center to upgrade his phone because of the Oxygen OS 11 bugs in OnePlus Nord. And even Kaushik had a similar experience. He had to sell his old OnePlus 60 and get Realme GT Neo 2 due to the whole update and lagginess of the phone due to the new Oxygen OS update. Overall, the point here is, I feel that OnePlus is going through a shift. It's changing from that enthusiast good smartphone making company that catered to audience like me and you to a profit making company with a brand value that caters to customers like my uncle. Yep, that story at the start, which is good for OnePlus. A business has to be profitable. But what did we learn from all of this? Well, there's a saying, you don't buy a company, you just buy a product. So even if your favorite company releases a bad product, don't be mad about it. Don't be a fan of the company. Be a fan of the product. Buy good products and companies will just come and go. And bold prediction time, I feel Oxygen OS will be totally removed from OnePlus series. Well, it was fun until it lasted, like this year. Subscribe. You can watch our other videos on best and worst smartphones to buy in 2021 and see you pretty soon.